it's just cutting off access completely, because I've gotten to the point in my life where I just don't tolerate any nonsense. And so, hello guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is your first time seeing my face. I am ChimereNicole. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and we are going to be talking about why you keep getting disappointed and how you can fix it. We all experience disappointment in our lifetime. Sometimes it's just an unavoidable thing. Life happens, right? But the key to avoiding disappointment is being able to manage your expectations. So we're going to jump into a few reasons why I think we are often disappointed and how we can fix it moving forward, because we ain't got time to waste time. I believe the number one reason why we're disappointed often is because we have unmet expectations. Oftentimes, we are expecting us from other people, and so we go into situations thinking that people are going to treat us the same way that we treat them. We go into situations thinking that everybody is going to behave, act, and move the same way that we will, and unfortunately, that is not always the case. 99% of the time, that's never the case. So oftentimes, disappointed is rooted in the unmet expectation, but if you want to be fair, a lot of times is an unmet expectation because we have not communicated the expectation. That's something that I find I used to do quite often. And so jumping into number one of the ways that we can manage disappointments is by making sure that we communicate our expectations in the beginning. So we're walking today. A lot of times we experience disappointment because we don't communicate exactly what it is that we want or expect. And by the time we've come to the conclusion or whatever it is that we are looking for or expecting from someone else, we're disappointed because we have not communicated what it is that we are wanting the end result to be. And a lot of times that's our fault. I can speak for myself. There are a lot of times that I give people certain expectations just because I believe that they are going to behave in a situation the way that I behave in a situation. And we all know that that's impossible. That's also another way that we can learn to manage our expectations moving forward. Stop expecting you from other people. I know you might have a heart of gold and you might have a heart to serve and to be of service. That's not often the heart of other people. And oftentimes we have an expectation that people are going to behave the same way that we behave, and unfortunately that is not the case. And so we are disappointed because we are expecting us from other people, and we have to stop that. Another way that we can learn to not be disappointed by other people is learning not to put your trust in people the way you put your trust in yourself. You trust other people more than you trust yourself and your own abilities, and that's a lot of times why we're disappointed. We think that we can't do it, and then we give problems to other people expecting them to solve it for us. We don't trust our own decision making, and so learning to trust yourself and put your trust in yourself versus other people is going to be another way that you can manage your expectations and manage your disappointment that you're often going to experience in life. So now that we are at our final destination, we can talk about point number 3, which is one of the main reasons that we experience this is because we do not set clear boundaries and we do not communicate those boundaries with others. We are disappointed because we personally don't even have our own standards in place. And if we do have our standards in place, we're not able to communicate those standards and those boundaries effectively to other people so that they know not only what they are, but not to cross them. Again, this is something that I have been guilty of as well, because I've had my standard, but if it's my standard, it is my responsibility to communicate that with the people who are around me, because if they cross that boundary with me, then they know that there is a repercussion to crossing those boundaries. But they don't know that if they don't know where to draw that line or where that line is in the sand for me. So it is my responsibility to make sure people know exactly where that line is in the sand, what it looks like to cross that line with me, and what the repercussions are the actionable steps I'm going to take if you cross those boundaries. And that might mean for me to cut you off. That also may be me removing myself from the situation or cutting off access to me. A lot of times, especially moving forward, it's just cutting off access completely, because I've gotten to the point in my life where I just don't tolerate any nonsense. And so my natural reaction now is, of course, I communicate my expectations earlier on, and And once those expectations and those boundaries are communicated and you know exactly what it is that I'm expecting from you, you also know what my boundaries are and my standards. And when you make the decision to cross the line, it is now my responsibility to cut off access so that that does not happen again. This is where cause and effect comes in. Because you did something, the effect is going to be XYZ, and that is all a part of creating those boundaries. But on that note, I also want to leave you guys with this. It is okay to have boundaries and have standards, but sometimes you do have to be a little bit more flexible in your expectations with other people, especially me, myself. I am a high-strung person. I am a person who's always like go, 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 and I understand that people are not often able to meet my expectations, and it's okay. I'm just learning to be a little more flexible in what it is that I'm expecting from other people, because again, I cannot expect my work ethic from other people, nor can I expect my own personal standard from other people. So I'm learning to be a little more flexible depending on what that situation is, because every situation does not deem me to be so high strung. But I'm just learning that it's okay to have those standards and it's okay to have those boundaries, but it's also okay to be flexible when it is allotted, because again, everyone is not going to meet your expectation, because your expectations for particular situations may be extremely high. So I don't want to just say because you're not able to meet that expectation, it's going to automatically cut you off. But if you cross the line with me and it turns into maybe disrespect, or it's just you not showing up the way that you say you were going to show up, or not showing up at all, that is where I have to kind of put those boundaries in place so that you can meet the standard that I set. Okay, you guys, so to briefly recap, we talked about disappointment and some ways that we can avoid disappointment in the future. And so I just want to briefly recap all of the things that we discussed. So of course, the first thing is we know that disappointment comes from unmet expectations. So a way to avoid that disappointment is to always make sure that you communicate clearly and effectively what it is that you are expecting, so that people don't leave you disappointed because you weren't able to communicate exactly what it is that you needed from that situation. In addition, making sure that you always clearly communicate what your boundaries are and what your standards are. Again, it's all about communication. It's going to be hard for people to not disappoint you if they don't know what your personal standards are. Another way to avoid disappointment is always to put your trust in yourself. A lot of times we put expectations or unfair expectations on other people because we don't trust ourselves enough to be able to do what it is that we need to have done. And so we push off certain things on other people, and it may be a heavy burden for them to carry, and it's all because we don't trust ourselves. So a good way to avoid disappointments is to put your trust in yourself and stop putting so much trust into other people. You expect you coming from other people, you expect you to give you that same treatment, but you can't put that same expectation on other people. They are not you. So don't expect the same results that you would give yourself from other people. And lastly, learn to be flexible. It is okay to experience disappointment, but the thing that I've learned about life is that do not always have everything so structured, and so that when things come up like life, we get so frazzled because it's not going according to plan. Learning to be flexible in them times and giving yourself a little bit more grace and a little more wiggle room would really help you to manage your expectations on how things should go and also how things should flow. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that this video was informative for you guys. I hope you guys love the change of scenery today. I surely did. It was very interesting making this video for you guys today, but we made it here and we are at the finish line. So again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. And if you guys are watching my challenge that I talked about in a previous video, I'm doing 21 days of posting here on this platform, and I am showing up authentically and unapologetically, and I'm doing that for 21 days straight. So no fluff, no filter, and as you guys see in today's video, we are just going to be going with the flow. So if you guys are interested in seeing more of this, again, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.